Alright, welcome back, guys. This is Kerbal Space Program, episode 4, I think? 4? Yeah. Today we are going to be practicing some orbital maneuvers, very basic stuff. I'm going to show you guys how to get to where you want to go and how to change your orbits to make it what you want. So I showed a little bit of this last time when we got into orbit, but basically, here we go. So let's bring our speed down. And we have plenty of fuel in our upper stage here to get back from wherever we end up going. So we're not going to move away from Kerbin. I'm just going to show you what's going on. So let's get to the periapsis so I can show you the first two major directions that you should know if you're starting out this game. So here we are at the periapsis. Periapsis is usually where you want to fire simply because you have the most speed. And that's the best way to get where you want to go. So there's two directions that you need to know very well to play this game. There are prograde and retrograde. Now, if you fire retrograde, which I'm closest to, actually I'll do prograde first because it's easier to understand that a little bit, I think. If you fire prograde wherever you are, boy, all my little movements here are changing my orbit. Let's not go so fast here. Pull it back, pull it back. I should run out of RCS pretty quick, because I only have one tank on here. There's that. Okay, cool. So, if you fire... Oh, I have half a tank left. Okay, so if you fire prograde in any side of the orbit, it'll push out the opposite side. Basically, whatever you do on one side of the orbit, you're going to do the opposite on the other side. And there are certain maneuvers that will affect the 90-degree point, 90 and 270-degree points on your orbit, but I'll go over those in a sec. This is a prograde fire. Let me actually reorient. And you can see prograde here on the nav ball as this green unobstructed target thing. This crosshair here that doesn't have an X through it, that's your prograde. And if you fire prograde, you can see my apoapsis here on the opposite side is extending outwards. So I'm going to get it out to 200. There's 200. Oh, kind of 200. And then I will flip around to this apoapsis side, and I'll show you. Oh, you know what? No, I'll show you retrograde now. So if I go to the other crosshair, so prograde is the direction you are headed. Retrograde is the opposite. It's the direction that you are coming from. So if you point towards that direction, okay, that was really bad, but it's really hard to control a rocket this size. A lot of inertia. So you can see my apoapsis there is 200,000 meters. If I were to fire, oh my god, retrograde. You can see, here, let's, wow. Why is it? Jeez, impossible to control. Okay, so anyways, if you fire retrograde, the opposite side of your orbit goes down, and you can see that the apoapsis, which was at 200,000, is now at 120. Okay, so now that the apoapsis and periapsis are 90 degrees to us, are perpendicular to where we're going, I will show you the two other directions that you need to know. The first one is normal, which is just, am I going normal right now? I think I'm going anti-normal. It doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm going anti-normal. Okay, but that's fine. That's fine. Anti-normal is the same as normal, just the opposite. So, anti-normal, you can see I'm aiming now at the 180 mark, which is directly south of this line that I'm on. If you point south, then the point over here and the point over here will tilt towards this point over here will tilt towards whichever direction you're facing. So if you're facing south, this is going to go down, and that'll do the opposite. That'll go up. So watch. 3, 2, 1. I'm firing, and you can see now I've got some inclination here. This is downwards, and you can use the moon's line here. That's the mun. It's perfectly on the 90 degrees, so it's easiest to get to. But anyways, this inclination now is different. You can see that over here I'm going to be above the moon's orbit, and over here I'm below the moon's orbit. And I can do the opposite by facing the normal direction, which is over on the 360 degree mark. Am I out of RCS? Yep. Wasted it all trying to oscillate. So that's good. So here we go. We're getting over to... Slow down a little bit. So the normal direction here, there's 45 degrees. It's just 90 degrees positively or negatively from your heading. So if my heading right now is pretty much, it's a little bit less than 90 degrees, this is going to be a little bit less than north. Okay, ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I'm just holding the keys. I'm fucking mashing the keys right now. Such a big rocket. Okay, let's gently coast down to the north heading. So as our heading reaches north, this is our normal direction, and you'll see that the orbit goes back to how it was. So let's lock it there and go like that. There we go. You can see the orbit tilting itself back down. Very simple stuff. And it helps if you're going to something like min-miss and you don't want to wait. Min-miss usual strategy is to wait until it's at these equatorial points. But there's no need for that. If you fire ahead of it and then you tilt your orbit on the normal direction halfway there. So if from here to here is your whole orbit, then you stop here and you aim upwards, it'll bring this up to min-miss and it'll meet it easier. And you can start with an equatorial heading on min-miss. Cool thing to know. Also helps with other planets like Moho here, who decided to be an asshole and tilt himself like a bitch here. Look at that tilt. Fuck. But it doesn't matter because if you have the right heading, you can get to anywhere. So that's normal and anti-normal. There are two more directions that are not as helpful, but they help with circularizing and also with very minor changes in your sphere of influence change. I'll get over that. Go over that in another episode. But basically, the directions are directly upwards and directly downwards. Now, any noob starting this game will say, "Oh, if I point downwards here at the planet, if I point straight down, that'll send me back to the planet." And after a while, you'd be right. But like I said before, if you fire retrograde, it'll bring your periapsis down. You don't have to worry about shit like that. But here we go. So I'll show you what these directly. There we go. Straight up and straight down. Basically, it's going to work exactly like the normal and anti-normal, where it'll affect the point here and the point here, 90 degrees from where you are. But what's going to happen is if you fire straight up, so think about it, if you fire straight up from where you are, then at this point, 90 degrees from where you are right now, you will be higher than you would have been. And then, likewise, on this side, you will be lower than you would have been. So if you want to take an orbit that's this size and you want to shift it that direction over here, you would fire down, straight down into the planet, which will it'll pull that side in and it'll push that side out. So it's a way of bringing your apoapsis down and your periapsis up, and in smaller increments. And it affects both of them, unlike the retrograde, which only affects one of them. So it's good for if you want to fix your orbit and you have OCD. So example, see how my apoapsis here is at 123 and my periapsis is at 88. What I could do, if I wanted this to be at 100, I could start here, pull that out to 100, then come over here, pull this back into 100, and be done with it. But that takes a very long time, because it takes 2 burns, where I could do that with 1. If I go over here to halfway between the apoapsis and periapsis, right here, well, it's going to take a while for me to orient myself upwards, so that's why I stopped here. Let's slowly creep ourselves northward, or not north, away. You want to face away from the planet. If we face away, we can push the periapsis out and the apoapsis in. So you'll see that with this one maneuver, we will affect both in small increments, which is fine because we only want 20,000 meters on each side. So here we go. Okay. There we go. Let's lock it in. So here we're already at 91, 121. Okay, so we're not exactly in the middle yet, but here we go. 3, 2, 1. So you see that's rising and this is shrinking. Obviously, There's too big of a difference right now for it to matter. But if you kept doing that, if it were like this, sort of like 2,000 off and that were 2,000 off, you could balance it pretty easily using that method. Also, if you're pulling up to a planet or a rock or a whatever, if you're pulling up to a moon here, let's say min-miss, and you see that your orbit is way out here, and it's flat to min-miss, but it's way, 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 way out, and you want to fix it beforehand, you can fire towards Kerbal in that direction, and it'll bring this in more. Just very simple stuff. So now that we've done all that, I am going to head back to the planet. We want to head down. I don't care where I land. I don't want to land at Kerbal Space Center. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. We're not under acceleration. You have your head up your ass. But I do want to land in the sunlight. So let's do that. Let's get out here. There we go. It's early morning or late evening. Yeah, it's late evening where we are right now. Let's so what I said before, we're going to aim at the retrograde direction. And we're just going to fire. And it should bring the opposite side of the orbit down. Now I know this isn't the opportune place. I should fire here at the apoapsis where my speed is the smallest because we're basically trying to reduce speed. But I have more than enough fuel to be able to handle this. In a pinch, I would have waited till the apoapsis because right now there's no time frame, there's no life support, time constraint, so you can wait as long as you want for an event to happen, which is pretty cool. So here we go, we're pulling in our periapsis and you can see it dropping. And there, it's 20,000 meters. That's within the atmosphere. So the atmosphere will do what is called aerobraking, where the air particles build up in front of your ship and they slow you down automatically. Any place with an atmosphere, Eve, Lathe, they all have an Duna, Joule as well. There's more. I think that's it. Is that it? Yeah. The places with atmospheres will do that. They will aerobrake and cause you to slow down, which is actually a cheap way to slow your craft. So I don't have to spend the extra fuel now to bring my periapsis in any further. But I do want to land. I want to kind of pick my landing. So I want to land here in this body of water. So let's get rid of this heavy-ass stage. Actually, let's fire a little bit. Get as much out of it as we can. Let's bring ourselves back down. So there we go. And that's done. So now we can ditch this really heavy portion. And that's gone. Thank goodness. But that was good. It worked pretty well. I should have more RCS tanks for that fat stage. Spinning, spinning. But anyways, yeah, so let's aim, so let's see, where's our, right, so see how this is where we're coming in right here. That's going to be pulled in due to aerobraking. So it's safe to assume that we're going to land ourselves, I don't know how much it does it, but probably towards this side of the, ocean here. The heart ocean, I call it, because it looks like a heart. Heart. So yeah, and we will get into that. We'll land next episode. I think I have about a minute. I could probably speed up time enough. It automatically, yeah, it kills your warp once you're in the atmosphere. Once you're about to touch the atmosphere. So here we are. Where's our, oh, there it is. There's our big stage back there. That should whiz past us. Is that a volcano? Oh, that's fucking cool. Alright. So yeah, this nice watery landing that we should have. And what I like to do is just, now this should be very easy to control. So once I clear this island here, I will start firing. There we go. To bring my speed down at a controlled rate. I will land this. And then the next episode, we will try to get a man into orbit, a KERBAL. Probably Jebediah. This is episode 4? Yeah, 4. Episode 4. So this is episode 4. I've been Acylumgaming. You have been my inmates. And, inmates, because Asylum? Yeah? Okay, cool. So, there we go. I'm firing retrograde. And I will see you guys next time when we land this and we head off for another orbit to get a man up into space. See you guys next time.